What's up, everyone? It's your boy Terry here, 2018 SEMA. Enjoying it. So much to take in. But what we're going to do is we're going to go to one of my boys, Nelson Gill. He is the man behind the Boss Hog torque converter and ACC Performance. We're going to talk to him, and because a lot of people know they need a torque converter. A lot of people know that when they build a car, what a torque converter does, but they don't know how it does it, how they do it. But so we're going to have my man Nelson Gill, and he's going to take us to school. Torque Converter 101. Talk to him, Nelson. What's happening?
Hey, man. Good to see you again, Terry.
Pleasure.
Yeah, man.
I appreciate you, man.
Welcome to SEMA, man. Is it everything?
Oh, it's overwhelming, man. It's like I'm hitting the candy store, man. I'm studying my words and everything. I'm having a good time, and I appreciate it. And thank you.
Awesome.
But you know what? Yeah. Like I said, everyone knows when they build a car, they need a torque converter. They know that they need a torque converter, and they know what a torque converter is. But I want you to show them, because you have a cutaway of how the torque converter works, how the fluid goes in, and because basically the fluid is what moves the car.
Yes.
So take it away, bro.
Here we go. Well, first things, all torque converters are not equal. Okay, you got to know that. We actually focus on engineering, not hype, not bling, not beautiful, because we know how to weld and we know what matters. Okay, so by starting that off, what I wanted to show you is a lot of people go with the bling and they try to say, well, this is the most heaviest, dutiest, badass. Well, Terry, pick this up. Tell me what you feel.
Wait.
Yeah, that sucker is very heavy. Okay,
yeah.
So in a nutshell, this is almost a completed assembly. It just lacks welding, but this is my whole unit.
That's only as much as that.
This only weighs 2 pounds heavier than just this front cover. So by keeping that rotating mass off of the motor, it's going to free up gobs and gobs of horsepower that's being robbed just to generate the output of the motor.
Wow.
Okay. So by knowing that, this functionality is you get a lot more bang for the buck.
Right.
Okay. And even though they call this billet, it's actually cast and then machined down. Because if you were to buy a big solid block and then machine 90% of it, that's a complete waste. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So let's get into the torque converter's functionality.
Well, I want to let you know that I actually weighed my torque converter that was in my stock Trailblazer SS and the Boss Hog.
Yes.
It's shaved off now. I know that you can't get all the fluid out, but I had the thing sit and drain for like a day and a half.
Yeah.
And I weighed them, and the stock Trailblazer one was over 40 pounds. Like 45, 46 pounds.
Yeah.
Yours was around 22.
Yes.
So, like you said, that frees up horsepower, and it's smaller too.
Yes.
And so, like you said, that would unfreeze that horsepower, that power.
Literally, with your application, you're going to free up between 65 and 70 horsepower to the ground with your application.
You hear that?
Okay. So, and it matters. Everything matters throughout the entire process. A K&N air filter can actually change the stall in a torque converter. Stall ranges are not fixed. They're based off of a specific setup. So with that being said, all stall ranges that are advertised will be off. Okay. So you got to know what you got completely. There are 7,300 variables for every single setup. Okay. So I want to go over some things with you on the torque converter. This is called the impeller hub. This actually engages into the front pump gear. This is a lot more of a precision install than what most people think. So with this being the top of the torque converter, also known as the impeller, it's an impeller because it's actually the pump. So what we're looking at here is a series of vanes, okay, all throughout. Now, this counterclockwise version of the outside fins gives us a higher stall. What I mean by that and how it's a higher stall is the fact it slows the fluid down, it forces it to make multiple turns and reconnects. So now it's going to take more in order for it to actually begin to lock up and then sense for its resistance and begin to drive the car. So the fluid gets pumped throughout the torque converter using centrifugal force. So it's actually being slung outwards, okay? And then back into the turbine, the outside set of fins here, okay? So that's what we've got for this. Yeah, I'm just trying to get it out of the way. So, let's reverse.
Reverse, there you go.
There we go. So now you got fluid coming in to the outside fins here and here, and then This has a one-way sprag in it, so it'll literally lock up and not turn, but you can turn it all day long this way. So that's what allows you to come up to a stop sign and not have to throw it into neutral or, you know, kill your motor like, you know, not depressing a clutch when you come up to a stop sign. Okay, so this allows you to idle that down. You know, so once we've done this and this locks up, then it's looking for the resistance and being able to move, you know, the vehicle, such as gear ratio, intake, your cam. All of this matters, the weight of the car. So with this being locked up, it's applying back pressure to this fin and also to this fin. So as you see, these fins are actually at a V.
Right.
And you still have fluid being pumped into it. Mm-hmm. So at a stop, you're actually kind of coasting in this direction. Now, once you meet the correct amount of fluid pressure to lock the stator up, then it begins to apply back pressure. Once it overcomes that, it begins to drive the car. Wow. As fluid's still being pumped into the outside.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what makes our parts different than most people's is our, number one, our attention to detail.
Yeah, you can see it. You can see it.
You know, we go the extra mile in cleaning the parts interior-wise because it's nothing more than a hydraulic system. You have to have the proper cooling. I stress that to people. We help people with their selections on that.
I wanted to mention that because this man, I got him on the phone, and I was telling you what I was doing, and you said you're going to need this type of stall speed, which we're going to talk about. And for my application, you said what kind of cam. You asked me like a resume of questions to make sure to get the right torque converter. And you know, a lot of people don't seem to think that's important, but it is, because you know, most people go to Jags and be like, okay, 2400 stall speed, 3000 stall speed. But you took the time out. And what was the stall speed on mine?
For your application, it's going to come in at 2300 RPM.
And you know, some people say, oh, I want more, but they really don't know that they want more. It's better to ask a professional like you to find out and maybe custom build one for you.
Well, you know, I'm fighting 60 years of you know, cam companies and other things that people thought that there was an actual black science to the stall. You know, they may not need that much. That maybe just the fact that going to the smaller diameter torque converter is going to fix what their issues. Okay, you know, with your application, that's the same case. You weren't out to you know, everyday drag race this and, you know, pop wheelies, you know, with your family in the car. So, you know, we designed it not only around your driving habits, but around the cam and the build-up for the best torque multiplication possible in efficiency.
Right.
You know, that matters. You know, again, with the cooling properties and your gear ratio, you got to have enough gear ratio to put in the correct stall. That matters as well. If you have a really, really light car, don't get hung up on advertised stalls. I mean, our advertised stalls are based off a 3,700-pound car.
You can't really pinpoint. It's a roundabout.
No, it's actually a fixed number with our particular application. We match 7,000 to 8,000 stalls a year, and can tell you within 100 RPM where it's going to stall.
That's what's up.
I don't know of anybody else that can do that.
That's what's up.
Okay. Now, how you achieve stall is, again, we go back to the fluid being pumped throughout the torque converter. We change stall by changing out the different pitches of fins and stators, also with the different pitches and fins, and it matters on how these things go together as to what kind of stall you're going to receive out of it. You know, so you know, you can't just, you know, sling it together and say, okay, that's it. You know, and I'd beware of people who can't give you these answers of why a torque converter is doing what it's doing, because that tells you pretty much that they don't understand the torque converters or what they've got.
And you know what I liked about dealing with you, Nelson? Because when I called you, you picked the phone up. It's not like I'm talking to like someone who's reading. If you get this question, answer it this way. No, you know what you're talking about, and it proves in your product. And it's I can't wait to try that drill. I can't wait.
Like I said, man, you need to set up your camera about 2-3 feet in front of it. And watch that front wheel. If you get the tire pressure just right.
Oh man, yeah. If I can get an inch off that, maybe a half inch. Yeah. Any daylight.
Your suspension's going to be stretched. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to work on that. I'm gonna have to work on that.
So, matching the stall is something that we do better than anybody else in the United States. We do have competitors sending us people as well. Because it is not a voodoo science. It is a physics equation, and that's what's most important with this application. We use only the best bearings possible. We use the best welding. That's NASA qualified welding. Okay, we don't do just one kind of welding. Throughout our entire shop, man, we've got multiple styles of globule, grounding, spray transfer, and pulse, and synergic pulse type welding. We actually pull from massive drums of wire, and we're using specialty pieces all throughout it with gas as well. So, whereas a lot of our competitors, we have just a step over stock torque converter, which is like one modification, and that's in our ninth stalker. Where, if we get into multiple things, where you put like headers and true dual exhaust, maybe an intake, you didn't do anything else to it. That's not stop, okay? That one, you're gonna have to go through our entire questionnaire or our application guide so that we can match that stall converter, so you're not practicing out, throwing torque converters out, in and out. It's not the fact that the torque converter went bad, it's just the wrong application, So, I wanna work with people, I wanna educate people, and by God, we all need to be getting it on, you know what I'm saying? Let's get those cars running the best possible.
But one last thing, I just wanna make sure and make it perfectly clear. Going from my stock torque converter to your torque converter freed up how much horsepower?
You're going to see between 65 and 70 rear wheel horsepower
at the rear wheel, and that's 20. It's like I guess somewhere in the neighborhood of 22 to 24 pound difference.
Yes.
Will make that much of a difference in the power to the ground.
Rule of thumb is at the flywheel, every 5 pounds you should be able to free up as much as 20 to 25 pounds. With this particular application, through the drivetrain to the rear wheels, again, you're going to be right there at 65 to 70 to the ground.
And that's just from the torque.
That includes stall.
That includes stall. That's incredible.
The stall, you're going to be a lot closer to your cam, your power band range.
Right.
Everything's going to just start clicking.
Don't forget the supercharger.
Yeah, the supercharger going to be pumping right about that time really good.
Oh, man.
So, you're going to have all that power
right there.
So it's going to be awesome.
It's going to be a nice ride. It's going to come down to get you. Come down to get you before
Sure.
man. Listen, everyone, I want to appreciate you. Nelson.
I'm sorry.
Where can you get them?
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, how can we get, if someone said, I want a Boss Hog converter, how can I go and get one?
It's very simple, man. We got distribution all over the United States through, Jeg, Summit, Motor State, where we have a lot of advanced stores that are buying them through our distribution as well. It's always best to go through my distribution. My guys out there with, Parts Pro group with the AAM group and all that stuff, man, I want you to, go through there. It's an absolute must. You can buy through us, but we're going to be more expensive. But we still want to help you, so we do support that distribution. And let's do that, okay, guys?
I know you got people lined up over here. You're busy, man. Awesome. I appreciate you, man. Thank you very much for everything.
Glad having you here, man.
Oh, no. I'm having a good time. I'm having a good time, man. My subscribers, they're going to love it. And thanks for your knowledge. Thanks for us through Torque Converter 101. Much appreciate it. And because it cleared up a whole lot of questions that people might have but didn't know. So thank you very much, man.
Awesome. Appreciate it.